just get out to anybody
Yeah.
like that can
Okay.
listen to it and stuff.
We are live. We are live. Uh, under heaven. I caught your little comment. We are not late. All right. We are perfectly on time. Give or take a few seconds for the stream setup to catch up. But generally, we are here. We are doing our thing. All right. I won't have any words to the contrary be said on this, the greatest podcast on earth.
Yeah. Ignoring that waffling guy who somehow gets here every week. What's up, guys? How are you doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys enjoyed your day. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I got a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Mappa cooked up a feast for us today.
Before we do, I just want to give a quick shout out / announcement to Hello and Holofy Tenses on Getsu. I don't know if you guys noticed, but y'all are the first people to get the 1 month members badge, because I think you were one of the first. So everybody who signed up will get it, whenever they're close to having 1 month. But yeah, that's the next badge, the little blue circle. I really like it. There's one more at 6 months, I believe, and I forgot if there's one for a year, but. Yeah, Liv cooked them up, and they should be setting in for everybody. They're really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if we wanted to stall before we get into the episode anymore, but if not, I mean, we can just jump right into it. This was a really good episode. It was very fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Arguably, yeah.
Significantly different from like the episodes we'd gotten before in terms of tone and pacing. I guess barring like episode 1, this was really the only episode where fighting or some sort of like extremely major obvious conflict didn't make itself known. I mean, obviously we have Ghetto's like descent into just like insanity, and that is obviously the conflict of the episode and the crux of the entire arc, but there isn't really any fighting going on, right? Everything is slow. It's much more character focused, and I really, I think that I think it depends on what type of viewer you are, but I think that this was a very enjoyable episode, and I think I like this type of episode at the end of all of that action. You know what I mean? It feels very rewarding.
Yeah.
Feels like it all meant something.
100%. My hesitation throughout this entire podcast, as you'll find, is going to try to use positive language to refer to the episode, but not the events happening within the episode, if that makes sense, right? Like, contrary to popular belief, I wasn't cheering and jumping and screaming when Geto did his thing, right? Believe it or not, it was very sad for me as well, right? That's the emotion I felt. So I just want to, say that very explicitly at the beginning here, because I know you guys. You're not gonna behave unless I say it.
Listen, I hadn't brought it up, but since you did,
Oh my god, not this, bro.
Hey chat. Listen, so let me give you a quick behind the scenes, because Creams, you brought this up, right? You could have glossed over it. You decided to, to make me remember.
You were gonna say it anyway.
so-
Let's not pretend here.
Nah, bro, I forgot. I'm not petty like that for sure, 100%. So yeah, you guys are smart people, right? You notice the little trend, right? We just take a screen cap from the episode that kind of encapsulates everything that it was about. We made it the thumbnail. We kept it pushing, right? Up to this point, up until this very episode, there has been literally zero conversation about putting text on the thumbnail, right? I want to clarify. Never before did we even talk about it. However,
So much
when
context.
we were making this thumbnail, right? So much context is like 2 sentences. Relax, bro. However, when we were making this thumbnail, right, and by we I mean Creams, guess what he wanted to put on here? And for longtime viewers, you guys know what it is, right?
Don't.
But with the particular scene that coincides with the screenshot that was this thumbnail, guess what catchphrase from Ghetto he wanted to put up here? The first time he didn't think to put text anywhere else on any thumbnail, but this one, nah, he felt he had something personally on his heart that he needed to put on the thumbnail.
That is not what happened.
It's exactly what happened. And then he thought, hey, should I title it that too?
That is not
that'll
true.
attract everyone that's
That is
just like
not
me
true.
for real.
That is not true. Okay,
It's
that
just, I mean,
that is not
it's
true.
just
I'll tell you what happened. Okay, what actually happened, Chad.
you're gonna lie.
Aside from all the
Just to let you know.
propaganda that you've been fed by people who shall remain
By
nameless.
people?
Shut up, bro.
By people. I don't get it. I don't have a name now. I'm just people. Okay. And Chad, do you see how he treats people, quote unquote, when they don't agree with him?
Why you have to
Very much
emphasize
so.
it like that? What?
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, you would emphasize a different letter in the English alphabet if given the chance.
Stop.
But yeah. But go ahead. Say your truth.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So what ended up happening was I got this idea to add the text to the thumbnail, ... and then go back and add text to the previous episode podcast we did in those thumbnails, like for Toji.
You're a liar.
For Toji, it would have
You're a
been.
liar.
It would have been.
I killed Gojo. You can't even remember
Yes.
because I'm the one who said that, you idiot. Look at you, flopping and floundering. You got caught in your lie. I told you you're dumb and weird for wanting to put that text on this thumbnail. But when Toji killed Gojo, you didn't think, hey, that's relevant text. And chat, do you want to know why? It's because to Creams, the phrase that stands out more is obey me monkeys rather than I killed Gojo. That's what stands out to him more. That's what he thinks will resonate. He thinks everybody's just like him for real. He thinks everyone's a Geto like sympathizer, not just sympathizer, relator.
Relator is
Ghetto's
crazy.
just like him for real. And bro says, listen, I know what your reaction was to that scene. I say that too. I know that was your reaction, bro. I can tell it. I can sense it. I sense that was your reaction. It's too late now. It's become canon. It's too late. It's become canon now. That's you, bro.
This twit longer gets longer and longer every day. Sorry, this zit longer. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I bet not.
Anyway, chat. Getting back to the actual episode. Wow, a lot of chats here. Oh, hey, nice. I wonder. I didn't realize that this was a thing. Hello. Thank you for being a 1 month member. Hope you enjoy your new badge here. Yo, glad we're at.
Can you refresh chat for me? I can't.
I scrolled up. Yeah, it should be caught up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
You have to read this one. I gotta go cry.
So glad we're at Creams. I mean, Ghetto's downfall into racism.
The whole name, huh?
Also loved your Gojo and Ghetto vid today, BR. One of my favorites from me so far. I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, I will say personally, like to watch the the very very racist undertones off of like the conversation with Creams. I will be watching him get obliterated by Yuta and Rika in Volume 0 later today. So don't you worry, I will watch him. I will make sure I watch that after, just to really put everything back in its place. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we know what Creams' biggest takeaway was. You know what I mean, chat? He tried to lie his way out of it, flubbed it. So I mean, that tells you where we're at. In any case, though, ignoring that, this episode was very very good. The like obvious Sakuga and like crazy movement was definitely lessened. But I feel like this episode is one that is very exemplary of why this aesthetic works so well. It's hard to explain, right? I'm not a very artsy person in that context, so I can't use my high level diction to explain it very well. But like the very soft aesthetic kind of works with the depressing, like almost sickly vibe that Geto had about himself up until his we'll say declaration of his new path, right? And I think Mappa did a really good job of making it very clear that Geto was not okay.
Yeah, I think more so than Gege did, right? Because the comments about him losing weight, the eye bags and all that, it felt like you could sort of see it if you looked for it, but Geto generally seemed like no different than he was, in all the events prior. Or the previous year in story, but Mappa really went out of the way to show you how not okay Geto was. Like he was doing awful, right? The bags under his eyes were like egregious. He like looked like he smelled. You know what I mean? Like he looked decrepit. He looked like he had actually lost weight. I was like, man, this guy is depressed. And
Yeah,
you really gotta give Mappa props for like really selling it. I think in that scene where he's in the shower, right? You really got to see how much weight he lost, which is like a very
like he
striking
almost looks
visual.
like, yeah, he
Yeah,
does. It is. He does look.
sickly. Like
He
yeah,
very sickly,
yeah.
very sickly. I mean, he looks like nearly emaciated. You know what I mean? Like he's just very. He just does not look healthy at all. And I mean, the scene does a really good job of that. One detail I really liked was whenever there was like rain or like the shower water being the applause from last episode, an amazing touch. I really like that. That was a very, very, very nice touch. To just have like instead of just like typical rains like sound effects, you just have the clapping. It's just like wow, that was a beautiful touch, and it made Ghetto's spiral all the more interesting, captivating, and like it made it make sense a lot more. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is all that was going through his head at every hour of the day, right? It was for a year. You know what I mean? This wasn't a spur of the moment decision. This
Yeah,
wasn't something that like he was temporarily overcome with grief or anything and then he snapped. Like this is a year of
slow
processing
decline.
and being
Yeah,
disgusted and like exercising and
consuming.
consuming and
Yeah.
exercising, consuming over and over and over, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
all just culminated and culminated and culminated into that final like Mimiko and Nanako point, and
Yeah.
then he just makes his decision.
Actually, this is another credit to Mappa, but like when he was delivering the monologue about the way curses taste, there's the visual they used was him like going and exercising curses, but it was on the scene where he's on the train, either going to or coming from
Mm-hmm.
an exorcism, where it was like you really felt his solitude because before he'd
Yeah.
have Gojo as a traveling companion, but he's really just alone. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the best part of this episode. You really get to see the distance between him and Gojo now, because like
Yeah.
in the previous episodes you got to see like how close they were, like in every aspect of their lives, right? Going to classes together, training together, going on missions together, like they were inseparable. And then suddenly, almost like sort of seemingly suddenly, right? It's just gone, right? Gojo has like, as weird as it is to say, right? There's no, it doesn't serve a purpose to have Geto there anymore, kind of hindering Gojo on these missions, right? The
Mm-hmm.
whole Gojo's that's our strongest when he's alone comment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like, it's so sad to see like the effect on Geto, who has more or less just been abandoned. And I think with Haibara's death by the end, he sees the people he can interact with and can like connect with slowly dwindling, while the people he dislikes, we'll say it like that, right? The people he dislikes seem to be in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Surrounded by the weak people, the non-sorcerers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he has to protect, but none of his friends, none of his allies, none of the people that he can relate to, and none of the people that he personally wants to protect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not people he wants to protect out of like duty or what's right, but like people that he genuinely cares about, and you get to kind of see them picked off from his life in one way or another, right? Shoko never went on dangerous missions, so he doesn't talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Ghetto, or like rather Gojo goes on missions by himself, which means he goes on missions by himself as well. Haibara and Nanami kind of stick together, and even Haibara died like a year after the events of Hidden Inventory. Nanami probably leaves Jujutsu very soon after that, if we're looking at like the chronology of his decision to become a businessman,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have Yuki show up, and very shortly after that, he goes on a mission. Sees two little girl sorcerers, right, being pressed by these like ignorant hick hillbillies who are just not understanding what's going on, clearly abusing these children, right? The
Mm-hmm.
weak abusing and like hurting the strong. Um, and he just breaks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just
Um,
it just shatters his psyche.
and you really feel it, right? Like they put you in Ghetto's shoes, where you almost feel like you're, doing the exercising and God the eating, and you feel like, yeah, sleeping dangerous timing is funny. Thank you for the 14. First of all, I think there was another super chat, but and I'll get to that after. Also, it's from Sleeping Danger, huh? How many cursed spirit could stomach before barfing? Me personally, one. Like based off Ghetto's description, I got one in me, and it's better be a good one. I don't know about you.
a rag wiped with shit and
Vomit,
vomit is
yeah.
crazy. I'm because in the manga I think he just says vomit, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I could do the manga version. I could probably stow away like 10. Shit and vomit. Hold on now. Yeah, that's I
Like,
like if I'm like for some reason, right, I need to get through these curses. I could probably get two, hold it down. I have to
like,
I don't know, bro.
like
But
I'm
yeah,
telling you, I'm not doing
Ghetto
it on a
doing
grade
that for a
4.
year is
Yeah,
crazy.
like it's not happening with anything less than a grade 2. Like it's simply like,
Huh.
yeah, it's somebody else's problem.
Yeah. The
Um,
voice acting in this episode is also really good.
mhm.
Gojo's reaction, like when Yaga's telling him
Oh
about what
yeah,
Ghetto
dude.
did, that was
Fuck.
an amazing scene. To me, that just made
Mm-hmm.
me
Dude, that made me.
Dreams, I'm sure you know what scene I'm looking forward to. One of the few moments in later arcs where he's surprised, where he's actually caught off guard by
Yes.
someone.
Oh my
I'm looking
god,
forward to
dude.
that because Gojo's voice actor really put his soul
Hmm.
into that. He's like, "No, I heard you. I'm saying, what the hell are you talking
Yeah,
about?" And
dude.
I'm like,
Gojo's
"Oh
voice
yeah,
acting and the animation on Yaga, where he sort of starts
mm,
to break the stoicism a little bit,
yeah,
and he's just like, I don't know, dude. I don't, like I'm just
yeah,
as confused. I was like, fuck. Like you really felt like their betrayal, like their hurt of Ghetto's everything. Like it's funny. Like there's a structure to this episode where um half of it, like let's say the first 2/3 even, is
mm-hmm,
seeing how depressed and like out on his luck Ghetto is, right? And like
mm-hmm,
how much worse he keeps spiraling down. But then immediately at the end, there's a flip, right? And he becomes the happy one, and everybody else kind of takes on that depressive state.
mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people have pointed it out already between like the scenes depiction in the movie versus like in the anime, and we'll get to that later. But like, it really went to show you like this is what made Geto happy. Committing to this new path was
Mm.
like him getting serenity, right? It was like the eye bags were gone. Like you know what I mean? Like he looked,
Yeah."
he was glowing.
He found his purpose, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And for as twisted and like evil as that purpose is, right? It is Ghetto finally like after like okay, like this is not a Ghetto defense thing, but like I want to just set the scene for a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of like not sympathize with Ghetto, but just kind of understand the mindset. Imagine that for a year straight, right? Like a fundamental belief that you've had for your entire life is like is just shaken to its core, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pick whatever belief that is for you, right? If you're religious, go that direction. If you're not, go that direction. Whatever, right? Just think about something that you hold to be true as like a basic assumption. Like it's not even worth discussing its value, right? It just is. And then some event just happens and for 365 days, you're isolated from everybody that you know and love, right? And you are just stuck doubting that core belief that makes you you day in and day out consistently, right? And oh yeah, throw some shitty vomit rags on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just to help out with your appetite. Now imagine, right? You finally find your resolve, right? You find your purpose and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. It almost doesn't matter what that is. Anybody will be happy to just find some sort of solace or resolution in the fact that they now know what they're doing is what they feel like they should be doing. Like you're finally not confused. You're finally like not in a daze. And for Ghetto, obviously the solution to that sucks for the jujutsu world, right? It sucks for all of his friends, and it sucks for all the non-sorcerers that he killed, right? However, for him as the sorcerer, as the person who was confused and lost and distraught for a year, that could not there really could not have been a better feeling,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was clarity. It was he finally found something after a year that just made sense. It just clicked for him.
Yeah. Um, fucking hell, dude. It was like it was simultaneously extremely heartbreaking but almost heartwarming to see Ghetto find some kind of happiness in his life, because it makes the line he said at the end of the JJK Zero, about like never he was never going to be happy in this world,
Hmm.
kind of come full circle, where you see his
Yeah.
journey and you see what his options were, you know, the
Hmm.
different paths that Yuki mentioned,
Yeah.
and you realize, yeah, whichever one he committed to did not have a particularly happy ending for him, right? And I
Hmm.
think that's why Geto decided to go the path he ultimately chose, because that one seems slightly better. You know,
There's personal. It's like
it
the
was his
one on the
choice. Yeah.
right was possible,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The one on the right was possible. It was safe. He couldn't really mess that up, especially as a special grade, right? It's not like his life was personally in danger, but his sanity always was, right? His resolve, his mental health, all of that stuff was always at stake here, right? But it was physically safe and it was very possible. However, he picked the one that sort of mentally fulfilled him more, right? For as twisted as that is,
Mm.
it's like, and there's this very perverse, like, not respect. I don't know how to put it because context and nuance is maybe not the easiest thing to get across in such like a black and white scenario like this, right? But there's this very interesting sense of like almost impressiveness to Ghetto making that decision while knowing that it's impossible for the current him,
Yeah.
right? It's like he knows that Gojo's stronger than him, right? He knows that he's turning his back on the strongest sorcerer alive,
Mm.
right? And he knows that once he walks, like not even once he walks away, the moment he killed those people, he had sealed his fate, right?
Mm.
And he had resolved himself to go up against the entire world if necessary,
And he,
right? He didn't
yeah,
spare his parents. He
which is,
wasn't willing to spare his
yeah,
friends. It
fucking
was
hell, dude.
me versus everybody else, and I'm choosing me,
And
right?
and
The
it's,
thing he chose was
oh,
bad, but you gotta
I
respect
admire it, dude.
like
It's so,
the boldness to just be like putting your foot down and being like,
this is the
no.
path I chose. Like, yeah, he was so adamant. Like he really found the thing, right? And he gave everything he had towards his convictions. And there's almost like a sense of, like I said, right, like heartwarmingness to it, because it really changed his entire life around, like personally,
Mhm.
right? And with killing his parents, like it reminded me of that line he gave in the movie slash Zero. He was like, "See you guys at the war." I think it's my
Yeah.
favorite like Geto
Mhm.
moment in that entire part, where he was, but it was like, well, I couldn't spare my parents, that'd be
Yeah, and he's
unfair.
like, yeah, because and he's just real like serious about it, and
Hmm.
and there's this interesting sense of like there's this very very interesting sense of like back and forth that Gojo and Ghetto have, right? I know a lot of people meme on like the are you the strongest because
Because
you're
you're
Gojo
too strong,
Satoru,
yeah.
or like are you Gojo Satoru because you're the strongest, right? I've
Mm.
seen a lot of people be like, what the fuck does that mean? Gay gay, that don't mean nothing. But it's like I look at that and I find that interesting because like if I could become you, right? Would the impossible become like would the impossible become possible? And there's something very distinctly, not intentionally obviously, but there's something very distinctly disrespectful feeling about Gojo in particular telling Geto in particular what is and is not possible,
Hmm.
right? Because I've talked to you, Creams, I talked to Liv, I talked to Tester about this
Hmm.
when we were watching the episode and everything, right? But it was like there's this very distinct feeling of like we were a unit, right?
Hmm.
What you could do, I could do, and what I could do, you could do. So for a year later, for you to sit here, right, and you tell me that I can't do this thing, not that I shouldn't, right? Not that you don't want me to,
But that it's
but that I
impossible.
can't, but that it's impossible,
Yeah.
but that it's like absurd, that it is pointless. Like how dare you almost, right?
Hmm.
How dare you sit on your high horse, right? As someone who could do exactly what I'm looking to do and say it can't be done. I know it can be done because I know you
You
can
could
do
do it.
it.
Yeah. It's one of the best exchanges I think in this entire series. Gege really fucking cooked with this exchange, and I think for Ghetto in particular, right? It was this. He had known. I think Bjorn and I told you about this, right? Ghetto knew that Gojo was the strongest, right? Like he
Hmm.
opened up this section of I think this episode with that claim, right? He was like, yeah, Gojo
Yep.
has become the strongest, like on his own. But it was
Yeah.
something that maybe Gojo like knew inherently as well now, but didn't. But neither of
Hmm.
them directly acknowledged, said out loud, or even like mentioned to the other, right? Because then I think it becomes real. And
Hmm.
I think Gojo's the one that kind of broke that tension with the
Hmm.
like, how can you spend your time like on something so impossible? And it was
Hmm.
like, it was sort of like the tell that Gojo,
Yeah.
it was an admission, Like, yeah,
Hmm.
dude, I know I'm stronger than you, but like you're too
You
weak to
can't
do
do
what
this,
I can
right?
do. Yeah.
You can't get this done. Like basically, you can't get this done if I oppose you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
And Ghetto's
yeah,
like, huh,
he finally
you're
said it.
funny,
Yeah.
right? Because he's like, you're right, and there's this very interesting like it's like you're right for now is the kind of the feeling I got right from Ghetto because he's like, yeah, like I'm gonna do everything I can to achieve that goal, right?
Mhm.
Ghetto's not a stupid person, and Ghetto's sure as hell not a weak one. Um, and it's just it was very engaging. The voice acting
Mhm.
made that such a crazy back and forth.
Yeah.
It made
Um
that such an insane conversation.
I want to read the super chats and then
Mm,
I want to get into kind of the aesthetics of that scene because I find them really
yeah.
interesting.
Okay.
So Sleeping Danger, I don't know, I read this one. This is the one that I missed. Nanako and Mimiko look so cute. Hopefully they don't unalive people in the future. Um,
Yeah, I mean they're great kids, right? They'll
yeah,
never do anything bad ever.
yeah. And you know what I say about Mimiko and Nanako? They always know how much every request is worth. Intrinsic, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
Never mess that type of stuff up.
never conversion rates. They could do them in their sleep.
Yeah.
Loud Gaming, thank you for the two thoughts on Toji's English dub. He
Uh,
sounds a
I
little dorky. Not like bad, but
like
just like
his voice is like kind of tweety.
yeah.
And it's just like, listen, for a different guy, different character, that would work. But Toji gives off very like lazy macho man vibes. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of the wrong guy to go a little bit, not squeaker. Squeaker's crazy. Just a little bit less intense. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Um, Definitely a lot less bass than what I was expecting.
for sure.
Okay, so the aesthetics of the scene, right? I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but people had put up what the conversation looked like from Gojo's perspective in the Zero movie, and then what it looked
All
like in the anime.
dark
Yeah,
and
and like all
yeah.
the people blending together, and like it was just him and Geto, right? And like it was much more serious and dramatic and horrifying. But for Geto in the anime, it was this sort of like coming to happiness moment. Like it was all bright and lively. Very
Mhm.
ironic considering like Ghetto's probably like taking a shower from all the people bumping into
Mm,
him. like
yeah.
um and what caught my attention after I saw that was the sound design because at first it
Hmm.
threw me off, right? I was like it's a little funky. Like literally it
Yeah.
seems a little discotheque for this moment. And when somebody
Hmm.
when they mentioned that it was like oh yeah, no, this is probably how Ghetto's feeling, right? He never had any like malice for Gojo, right? Even like till the bitter end. So for him, it was like he is walking literally and figuratively walking the path that he set on, and the
Hmm.
music was him sort of being his truest self and like
I mean,
being happy in that
yeah.
decision.
Let me pose you for everybody that's already emotionally invested in this. Let me pose you something a very interesting idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? This right here was Ghetto's honored one moment. When he said that to Gojo on the street, this is Ghetto realizing, like, because here's the thing: Gojo grew apart from Ghetto first,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's not like Ghetto just ditched Gojo. Gojo, his strength made him grow apart. He
Mm-hmm.
became different. All this stuff, right? And all Ghetto was doing is like he grew as well,
Yeah.
right? We wouldn't associate it as a positive growth, but for Ghetto, this is his awakening right here. Is the moment he goes from the guy we know him as in hidden inventory to the special grade curse Suguru Ghetto. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? This is like for him, you know how like yeah, Gojo's moment is so ethereal, it's so pure, it's so angelic, right? It's like Ghetto's doesn't necessarily have that same vibe, but it certainly doesn't feel like he's down or like he's sad because it's not a sad moment for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. It is like sure would he probably want to still be friends with Gojo and maybe wish that Gojo can go on this path with him?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, 100%. Gojo's still his best friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. He's not stabbing Gojo in the back, and he's certainly not being stabbed in the back from Gojo here, right? He's telling him, "Listen, this is where we part ways," right? Like almost as if you've ever had a friend, right? Like obviously on a smaller scale, and you guys are about to go to different schools, right? It's a somber moment for sure, but like especially if you have something to look forward to later, it's like it's kind of like, oh, I'm going on into bigger and better things, you know what I mean? I finished this stage of my life. It's time to move on. And it's like for Geto, that's exactly what that was. Like, it's time to go. It's time to go.
It is.
Um,
And man, I want to say, I felt Gojo's heartbreak when his hand was shaking.
yep.
Like, I was like, oh, dude, that's when he just broke down. It was like, fucking hell, dude. Like, yeah, I wonder, right? How, like, what was Gojo's line of thinking, right? Like, obviously, it's I don't want to kill Geto. That's my best friend. Blah blah blah, right? But I mean, like, what was his like? Whether it was after or whenever, it was like, how do you deal with the special grade curse Suguru Geto? You know, like,
Yeah.
because he and maybe Yuki are the only ones that can,
Hmm.
and it's a problem that's not going to go away on its own. I think Geto kind of made that very clear. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, bro, like I'm committing to this, and then he shows up and he's like declaring war. So I wonder if, and keep in mind, right, this is just a little bit of a darker interpretation. I wonder if there was a part of Geto, sorry, a part of Gojo that like didn't realize that he was maintaining the condescension, even accidentally, by being like, if he ever does come back, I'll just stop him then, or no, he won't actually do it because I'm here, kind of things, right? And
I don't
maybe,
think Gojo could ever find Geto. That's how I look at it. I don't think he could have even if he wanted to. And I do think, like,
I mean,
yeah, I don't think so.
maybe because like Geto wasn't directly confrontational until Yuta. Like it could have just been like a
Yeah.
non-threat thing because like I think even Geto said himself right in Zero, he was like, if we attack them head on, it's like a 20 to 30% chance
Hmm.
that we win, which is
Yeah.
still crazy by the way. Um, and it wasn't until Rika that he like executed the war, right?
Hmm.
And I guess a part of me wonders if like it was the recruitment process, Gojo's kindness, or like what was staying Gojo's hand, right? For 10 years.
I mean, I'll just put it like this, right? Shoko calls Gojo to tell Geto where he's at, right? Geto's been a Jujutsu sorcerer, a good one at that. He knows Gojo. He knows what Jujutsu High's capabilities are in a general sense, right? If he doesn't want to be found, in all of Japan, I don't even think Gojo could find him if he wanted to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Gojo can find him given the right breadcrumbs. Like for example, in Volume Zero, he senses that Geto has just been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he also goes to the scene of the crime because some suspicious shit happened. Suspicious shit that Geto knew would happen. I mean, he stole his fucking ID for like he's being very inconspicuous in Volume Zero. Whereas I feel like over 10 years, Geto does not like he's running his little cult, right? Which no one has any reason to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gathering cursed spirits, right? Just
Yeah,
slowly amassing
and,
more
and and
allies, more curses, more power.
that's what I mean, right? The whole like
Yeah.
Gojo not having anything to worry about.
Mm.
Like, do you think there's any part of Gojo that like, whether he realizes it or not, is not hunting Geto down like a curse? Like let's be real, right? Gojo wasn't proactive either, right? Like it sure you could say Geto's like wily or whatever, but it seems like he was mostly hiding from like Jujutsu Tech and like other
Mm.
sorcerers, um, but not Gojo specifically, right? And Gojo wasn't being very like for like what do you call it, headstrong about the entire affair. So I wonder if there is, if it's mercy, kind of a secure, being self-secure, self-assured in if he does step over that line, then I'll do it. Like I'll do what I couldn't do in front of the KFC, right?
Mm.
Or if there was something else there.
I mean, it could be a mixture of things. Like I think it is a mix of if Geto makes a big move, I'll know and then I can handle it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because being proactive seems like it'd be a fruitless endeavor, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna look through all of Japan to find him? That just you're just not gonna get anywhere, right? And with how busy Gojo is portrayed to be, right? He
Mm-hmm.
only got busier after Get like he had to have just started taking on
Yeah,
his missions too,
the higher
even if
ups
he
to
wanted to.
the
Yeah,
higher ups
like
like
all right,
listen
bro,
to
come on now.
Nanami, like they were like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. He should go on more missions. That's a
hmm,
great idea.
yeah, for sure.
Um, Sleeping Ninja, thank you for the 14. If Yuki helps Geto, how high is the chance of winning against
Oh, like in
Gojo?
Volume Zero.
In against
Um,
adult Gojo, and we're and
Specifically just like everybody else. Like, so here's the thing, everybody else is a non-factor.
yeah,
I would just be honest with you.
I
It's
mean
just Yuki, Geto.
Yuta
Um,
maybe, but
if Yuki's there, it's a very when Yuta's fucking conversating with Rika, she's just gonna kick Garuda. I mean,
yeah, maybe like look if it's one of those if it's instead of Miguel, it's Yuki, right? I think it makes like as much of a difference. Like as long as Yuta and Geto are doing their thing and it's not like a 2v1, then it should be the same result, right? Because like the main win con for Geto was just getting Rika after killing Yuta.
mhm.
So they have to like pair up, right? Like sorry, they have to like go up against each other. So unless Yuki brings like Gojo is not so cruel as to make Yuta be like on some Goku shit, be like, nah, you could do this 2v1. You know what I mean? Like
Sure, but
yeah,
Gojo doesn't know Yuki, right? Like, for Geto, that's just an unknown trump. It's like for example having Miguel, right? Gojo didn't know Miguel until Miguel was sitting in front of his face.
but
Geto could
like
just be like,
wait,
all right,
no,
Miguel, do your same thing.
everybody knows Yuki. Like they're just
Yeah, but
taught.
what I mean, right, is Geto does not know first of all what Yuki looks like, right?
You mean Gojo?
And I no, I mean Geto initially, right? When Geto meets her, he
Right,
sees her and does not identify that as Yuki
right,
Tsukumo, the special grade,
yeah.
right? So I'm saying off like Gojo's not gonna just look at her and be like, ah, Yuki, unless they've met and we just don't
Yeah, no,
know,
no,
right?
this is
Maybe.
me just like if we're going by like the 10 years, like being those 10 years, right? Then like the
Mhm.
only thing that's changed is just Yuki siding with Geto, and then conflict ensues. So unless Yuki starts off with a black hole or like a Garuda like off rip, right? Like I don't think it'll matter. I think at that point Gojo's gonna be like, all right, like I'll deal with Yuki and Yuta. You got Geto. Like I believe in you.
Mm.
I was actually talking to you about this VR, and I'll just bring it up to chat because I think it's really funny. One of the kind of sour notes about this whole Gojo versus Geto story is that the way it ends is almost like you go through this like Shakespearean tragedy almost with Gojo and Geto, and then it's just like Gojo being like, you know what, Geto, I can't believe you do this. You break my heart. Yuta's gonna make you pay.
Yeah.
It's just really really funny. Like that's kind of how it ended. You can say,
Mm.
oh yeah, that moment they had at the end of Zero, but like, come on, that's funny.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
comedy is indeed subjective for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Speaking of Yuki, by the way, I guess let's address the elephant in the room in regards to like Yuki conversation for this episode.
A
Um,
lot more engaging in the anime. Um, you
Yuki
have
as a character or what?
the conversation, like specifically the conversation between her and Geto.
Uh, okay. Particularly, so like what made it more engaging to you, particularly?
Animation and music.
Fair
um,
enough.
Also I think the anime did a much better job with Yuki's body language, just to kind of show you what she's like demeanor wise. So I think that helped it too. It was like a mixture of uh, Jesus, motorcycle woman and scientist, and I think they kind of nailed
Mm.
that. Like, really smart, really casual vibe.
Got you.
Dare I say she
Yeah, yeah,
looked
yeah.
cool?
Yeah, Yuki definitely like listen. Hate aside, right? Yuki
Mm,
looked cool, and
yeah.
she came off cool in this episode. In fact, my hate comes from that very fact,
Yep.
actually. But yeah, Let's stick to anime stuff, right? And
Mm,
in the anime department, you brought up an idea, right, about fault. Introduce it, right? Let's get Chad's thoughts, and then we'll talk, hash it out, if you will, about what we think, because we do disagree. We're not aligned on this particular thing.
yes, yes,
So
yes.
go ahead.
Okay. Do you want to start with the like Yuki's philosophy? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you can start with Yuki's philosophy and then like fault on like how much of it is her fault that
Okay.
Geto turned out the way he did.
Okay, so BR and I had this very slight disagreement. I didn't give you my percentage, to be fair, right? I don't think we got up to that part, but it was like how much of Geto's ultimate decision and or downfall is on Yuki's shoulders, right? Because she didn't directly discourage the idea of getting rid of non-sorcerers. She just didn't. She just said I wouldn't personally do it because it would be too difficult, and or um, it's not a terrible idea, right?
It's an option.
It's an
It's
option,
possible.
right? Yeah, it's another thing you can do. I said, I think it was like, or I think it's like 15-20%, right? Yuki's fault for
Hmm.
like making it an option for him, right? Because she breathed a little life in his eyes, right? He kind of woke up from his trance when she was presenting the options, right? About Toji, about getting rid of cursed energy, about like humans leaking it, and it felt like because of Yuki's conversation, it gave Geto the right justification to pursue the path that he ultimately chose, right? So it went from like I need to eradicate all these monkeys to like what do you call it? To like I am I am doing a public service to myself and other like jujutsu sorcerers by getting rid of them, right? Where it felt like it gave him a cause for his like for like thoughts or his actions that otherwise might
Hmm.
not have been there, right? I'm not saying like I like keep in mind, right? I think Geto would have had a snapping point. I think it might have still been that thing with the village and Mimiko and Nanago. But I think like the sort of like doctrine when he takes over the cult is what would have been the main difference, which is why I give like 15-20% to Yuki.
Yeah. I think Yuki's greatest crime is giving Geto an idea, I guess.
Mm,
But like I look at that like I guess I look at Geto in a much more like independent and mature way than some people do. Like it'd be like saying Gojo's at fault for drifting apart from Geto because like did that contribute like objectively so
mm,
sure, right? But I don't think anyone in their right mind would say Gojo is at all partially at fault because it isn't. Well, I've been giving shooting a lot of bail to Geto, right, and making
mm,
sure like I understand I am sympathetic towards like the entire context of his situation, right? It is not at all a normal reaction for everything being said and given, right? For Ghetto to react in the way that he did, at least in the sense of like his actions are still very much premeditated, right? Yuki didn't like fucking what's the word and like indoctrinate him or anything, right? She said things are true, and then when Ghetto came to a conclusion, she said that is in fact possible. And then she's like, I'm not crazy enough to do that though. It'd be like, have you ever made a suggest or has a friend ever made a suggestion to you? You're like, shit, I mean, you could do that. I wouldn't though. Like to me, that's like a very much
can we
it is
okay
there's the implication of like no, that's not a good idea. If I wouldn't do it, right? If I thought it was a good idea, I would do it, right? You know what I mean?
I get what you
Um,
look. I get what you mean. It's my rebuttal is very Yuki is talking like as one like from one special grade to another, right? It is
mhm.
when she says it's an option, it's like it's an option. It is an option to realistically pursue, but she would not. That's how it came off to me.
It's an option in the sense that like it's an option for Nanami or Haibara, right? Yes, could you in theory kill every non-sorcerer, right? But Yuki, a fellow special grade, someone that stands at least of relative footing to Geto in the sorcerer hierarchy and power hierarchy, saying she's not crazy enough to do it, right? It's not like it's some like random weakling, right? Nanami, like teenage Nanami isn't saying, I wouldn't do that, right? It's not some person that doesn't understand what it means to be on Ghetto's level. It's older, more mature, well, an older special grade sorcerer, right? Who says, yeah, I wouldn't be crazy enough to do that, right? She acknowledges the literal fact that, yes, right? If you did what you said, yeah, you could, right? Unfortunately, I'm not insane enough to try that out myself, right? I
Hmm.
feel like that's a pretty clear denouncement of that because I know that I have said something very obviously not with my friend saying, I wonder if I should just kill every non-sorcerer, right? But in a sense of like, should I go do this? Like, hey, bro, listen, you could, I wouldn't. Like Creams, I've said that to you, right? I've said like you could do something. I wouldn't do it,
Me
right? But you could.
personally, yeah.
And the very obvious implication to me, right, is I wouldn't do it because I think that's stupid, or I think it's a bad idea, or I think it's not good. Blah blah blah. Any variation of that, right? Sure. Did Yuki not say, "Geto, you shouldn't do this," right?
Hmm.
I think. her biggest crime is like offering up information, but I think people sometimes, right? Not necessarily you, not necessarily people in chat, but I think people sometimes um infantilize, I don't know how to say that word. Infantilize, right?
Yeah.
They infantilize Ghetto a little bit because it's like you're making it seem like he's this helpless child who was just inundated into this idea that killing sorcerers is a good thing, right?
No, no,
All of Yuki's conversation steers towards like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do,
right, but like
blah blah
my
blah.
thing, right? Like that's why I'm making the specific designation that like she wasn't the one to set him on the path, right? That's why the percentage is so low. She just gave him the rhetoric to use in a recruitment of other people, right? Giving them kind of a sense of purpose or cause for Geto's actions, right? Because we can both confidently say that Geto was already feeling this way prior to finding out, or I guess realizing the truth about like where cursed spirits come from, right? And like how
Mhm.
sorcerers die in the field, especially after Haibara, right?
Yep.
My issue with Yuki, and the reason I give the percentage that I give, is because she set Geto up to go from being like a direct, mass murderer, which he is, right? Like that's already like a thing, to being one like on a mission, like on a kind of religious quest, if you will. And we see in Zero like he has recruited an army. He's waging a war. She gave him the tools from being like a serial killer to being like, uh, what do you call it? A fascist. There we go.
Jesus. Okay. So I will use this analogy, right?
Mm,
And if you hold the same stance, then that would just like we would just disagree, but you're pretty consistent amongst your thinking, right?
okay.
So you know how Gojo is like, "Hey Megumi, be more selfish, buddy. Like this whole teamwork, I gotta die for my friends bullshit. It's not really working for you. Like, just start doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, start being more selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta start taking shit into your own hands. If Megumi took that and extrapolated, okay, I'm gonna just start, I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna start killing people, right? I'm gonna just start mass murdering, right? Okay, yeah.
But like,
Was Gojo technically the impetus for
no, no,
that? A
hold on.
hundred percent. However,
It's not
it
exactly
is
the same.
completely
Right.
illogical to assume that a person would take that and then take it to that extreme, right? Because it is abnormal to do that.
Okay. It's not exactly a one to one because Megumi would need to have like those tendencies teased or like foreshadowed prior. Like with Geto, the shower
But Yuki doesn't
scene.
know that.
I guess you could say
It's
like,
like we're
okay,
imposing
she
information onto
doesn't.
Yuki that she
Okay,
couldn't possibly know.
okay, she doesn't like possibly know, right?
Mhm.
Excuse me. However, there is sort of like a casualty to her language that I think is a little bit reckless. That's all. Right? Like giving the given the subject matter and given the person who you're talking to and their capabilities, it doesn't seem like an out of line assumption to just be like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that." Like seriously like engaging in that.
I mean I guess so, but it just feels like
Like
it's such an obvious thing. Like it's like
okay,
there are certain things, right? There are certain things that in conversation we don't say back and forth because the implication runs so deep and is so in your face, right?
mhm.
That like you assume it to be the case, right? If I'm like, you know, yeah, man, you shouldn't let anybody just walk all over you. You need to assert yourself, right? It's implied that I don't mean you beat them to death, right?
Okay.
Like I'm not gonna say, hold on.
Okay.
When you assert yourself, that doesn't mean beat them to a bloody pulp, right? The implication in just human regular conversation runs so deep that the idea that you would have to even clarify that is absurd to me, right? Like if you had to make those clarifications and like
Okay, okay.
Ghetto is losing it,
Let me,
but
let,
Yuki doesn't know that.
I, I think anybody can see it. First of all, he's not.
Gojo couldn't.
Okay,
Gojo's his best friend, and he couldn't. Not anybody.
okay, okay,
The six eyes best
okay,
friend couldn't see it.
okay,
Like,
okay.
come on now.
All right. For what it's worth, he did notice the weight loss, but that's besides the point, right? if let's just, for example, say Yuki went up to Gojo instead of
Mm-hmm.
Geto, and she was like, and Gojo dropped something like, sometimes I just feel like killing everybody in Japan. Like, how?
Yeah, but that's not what Ghetto said.
Okay,
Him
would
and Yuki, right, are talking about things that are possible to eliminate curses, right? Yuki talks about enforcing heavenly restrictions on every person on the planet,
okay.
something she currently can't do, right? And Ghetto, when they're talking about these hypotheticals, Ghetto's like, couldn't you just kill every non-sorcerer? And Yuki's just like, yeah, that's possible,
So
right? Because it just is true. It is just true that that is possible. And yeah, and so for people in chat, right? I'm saying Yuki's conversation does objectively play a part in
mhm.
Ghetto's descent, right? But I think placing fault on her makes about as much sense as you saying like some offhanded comment for some person, and it just sets them off,
I
right?
want
It's like anything. I could be like, hey man,
you're
I
going to
think you should stand up
war.
for yourself a bit more.
Okay,
And you just go on and you just start
okay.
tearing people's heads off, right?
Real quick,
Yeah, did
what
what I say push you? But like, how could I possibly foresee that?
I get what you mean. Just to kind of like set the standard here. What's your percentage? You said it was 5, right?
Yeah, like 5%.
Okay, I said like 15, right? You want to
Hmm.
split the difference, call it an even 10?
No,
You're
but
insane.
we can disagree.
Uh,
Disagreeing is not the end of the world. But no, I mean, I'm not. I don't think. I just think that like I 100%. If we're asking the question of how much did she play a part, she played a very significant part, right? She
mm,
played a very, very, very significant part in how Ghetto turned out, right? But if
right.
we're talking fault, right, and fault to me implies this negative connotation, right? Not this because having
Okay,
playing a part in something's development does not necessarily it kind of implies neutrality generally
fine.
speaking, but
Okay,
fault is like negative. Now if we're talking fault, I'm like, yeah, 5%.
okay.
She could have been better about it.
All right. So let's agree to disagree on the fault. All right.
Fair enough.
On the rating of like involvement or I guess
Hmm.
like being a factor, right? Where do you put that? Just morbid curiosity on my part.
Let's see. So I'll just go through percentages to kind of help me get to that whole 100%, right?
Mm,
Um, so I think the Toji Rico thing is like for probably probably 60%, right?
interesting.
Probably pushed him over half, right?
Okay.
I think Gojo not being um Gojo not being a presence, like the isolation in general, we'll say, right?
Right.
Is like it is 15%, not because it pushed him very far, but because it stopped him from coming back, I think, right?
Mm,
So it like he was rolling down a hill. Gojo could have been a stopping point, but he just like Gojo wasn't there, right? Not Gojo's fault, but he's a contribution, right? I would say Yuki's contribution is like wait, hold on, where's the math am I? So I'm at 65%.
yeah.
I would say Yuki's is about 20%,
Interesting.
maybe 15 to 20%,
Okay.
right? And then I would say Mimiko and Nanako's thing combined with about Haibara is like 15 to 20% as well, right? So whichever one you think is like, if you think Yuki's is the 15%, you just make Mimiko's and Nanako's the 20, blah blah blah, right?
Okay.
Um,
All right.
that's kind of where I stand on that.
I think I'm roughly in the same boat. Um, I do want to say though, I would take away like 5% from Gojo,
Hmm.
and just give that to Rico dying in the way she did in front of Geto.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you would go over 60%, like 65%, something like that.
So like instead of 60, it's
Yeah.
55, right? With that
Oh,
5% going to like Rico, and then the rest of the percentages being the same as yours.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. You're
Um.
defending Yuki. Yeah, I mean, from an anime only standpoint, right? Like I'll say this right now. From an anime only standpoint, there's no reason to not like Yuki.
Yeah.
Yuki's a very interesting character right now,
Yeah.
and that's my problem.
Yeah. That's everybody's problem.
Man,
I will. Yeah.
anywho.
I will say this about Yuki. It was something I think I brought up on the podcast before, but like, dude, I was really locked into the Yuki vision, right? As far as like a resolution to like Jujutsu Kaisen's entire, scrutiny with cursed energy, with cursed
Yuki could
spirits.
have been cooking,
She
bro.
could have, dude. You don't.
God,
I was so
the reason
mad.
I'm mad is
Yeah.
because of the master class I cooked in my head.
Yes, dude.
It makes me upset, bro.
You and me, bro. Like I was so convinced that Yuki was going to be the ultimate winner. By the time JJK ended, like cursed energy was going to be eradicated, Sukuna gone,
Be careful.
Kenjaku, like all these guys, all these villains gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cursed spirits especially gone.
Yeah. And like I think she still can win. You know what I mean?
From there, you know.
Yeah. No.
But like, it was such a good idea, bro. Like when she was talking to Geto, um, I was like, wait, hold on. That first idea, that seems like you might be onto something. Hold on. And then you find out everything you do in the manga about like barriers and such, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, hmm, hmm, like you kind of like lean in a little bit. You know what I mean? Like in your seat,
Yeah.
and then you lean back, and that's all I'll say about that.
Hmm.
You
People are
lean.
saying spoilers. You guys think we went too much?
I think we kept it
Our
vague.
vagueness was not vague
Yeah.
enough.
Um.
Um,
But yeah, I really I thought Yuki's vision was like the best one.
Yuki has a very interesting and I think engaging like viewpoint on the world. You know what I mean? On Jujutsu Society specifically, or I guess how that plays into the world as a whole. But yeah,
Um.
yeah. Overall, I guess we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Hmm?
Um, where would you say now that all of hidden inventory is over, right? And we're about to go on our little break.
Hmm?
How would you say you rank these episodes, and then how would you say you compare what JJK season 2 has done so far to JJK season 1?
Okay. So right off the top of my head, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1, or
3 over
no?
4?
Oh, sorry, 1, 2.
Are
Yeah.
you putting 3 over 4 though? Like
Yeah, I'm putting I'm putting 3/4. I've had some time to sit with it. I
interesting.
think.
Okay.
Oh man, no, they could be interchangeable, honestly.
Mm,
Yeah, so let's say 5, 4, 3, and then 1, 2.
I have the same thing.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I literally just I have the same sense. 5, 4, 3, 1, 2. Yep,
yeah.
yep, yep.
Um,
The gap between 5 and 4 isn't that large, to be
uh,
honest.
I mean,
But I think because I really like like this obviously went way harder on the character parts, but I do definitely appreciate how Mappa's been adapting the fight. So
mm-hmm,
like a lot of the hype from seeing the fights, I can't
yeah,
understate that at all.
100%. Like, especially, dude, they cooked with Toji and Gojo. Even with Geto, this episode. Let me just say real quick, the visuals when Geto found out about Mimiko and Nanako,
Mhm.
crazy,
Yeah,
crazy. The sound
yeah.
design was arguably better. That shit was horrifying.
It was nice, bro.
Yeah.
That was a nice episode. A great episode,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
But yeah, I think we both say like definitively this is the best episode of the season.
Mappa masterclass for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I will say, like, knock wood, all the precautions. If
Mm-hmm.
it continues like this, season 2 is
Uh,
like obviously the source material
it's
is
crazy.
better, so
Yeah.
that's kind of it's obviously like a bit of a shift. But I just
Mm-hmm.
mean in terms of adapting what's there. Oh man, Mappa really saw JJK's success and was like, hold on.
Yep.
Let's up it. Let's up it. We can
We can
let's
do
allocate
more.
more
Yeah.
resources. Let's cook. Um,
Actually, speaking of, I saw the post-credit scene. It was like they're adapting that chapter where Yuji goes on a date.
yes, sir. I'm so
Um,
happy about that.
yeah, me too. I was just wondering, like, is that the next episode? Like, are they integrating the recap into that, or is that like the next
I
official episode?
I I imagine that that's the next like official episode. I imagine. Um,
Yeah.
and then maybe we'll go into like what the hell is that? Halloween something something? I don't know. Um,
Um, yeah. You know, it's funny.
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The opening thing for the next season, by the way, I think we got like a solid. Let's see. There's 20, 22 or 23 episodes this season. Like
23. So 18 should be episodes. Or
right.
18 like non-hidden inventory episodes, I guess.
Did you already remove the recap episodes?
No, those don't count. Those
Oh,
don't
okay.
count towards the 18.
So it's like 25 like on paper, and like 23 for the
Uh,
actual main story.
it is 26 on paper because it's 3 weeks I think of recaps.
Hmm.
Um, and then but like
No,
in terms of the
one.
ones that we'll get to see,
I think
I think
there's.
is
I think there's 2 recap episodes and one is just a break week because I think it's some sort of festival. Um.
oh gotcha.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. For Shibuya, obviously
Yeah.
peak. That's gonna. Knock wood. Yeah. I was gonna make some very bold claims
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so this is a very
Mm,
much whatever. All right. Let me use the bathroom real quick.
yeah.
And then we can get I don't know how long we've been streaming, but I don't we can get into that question you wanted me to remind you of
Yeah.
earlier, the
Yeah.
ghetto one.
Yeah.
So just entertain chat, I'll be right back.
Cool. All right, chat. I got a fun question for you guys. Because I remembered sort of like at the tail end. What did y'all think about the CG? I think who said it? Liv. Wow. Yeah, the animation change with Geto, this entire episode, not just in with Mimiko and Nanako, but like specifically even in the shower, I was like very taken aback by it. I wasn't displeased, right? Let me make that clear. But I was it did I was like, they went with a 3D CGI kind of perspective on it, which was very surprising. And I'm curious how that moved the needle for you guys. Um, how do you feel about One Piece? Come on, hello, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? uh, pray for narration, Mozan or Mozane. I don't know if I'm butchering your name. Sorry about that. I we have been we like on this podcast every week we do like a little prayer for narration to be in this anime, and we're trying. We are just trying. Um, but yeah. How we feel about the CG chat? I thought it was, yeah, like I said, thought it was kind of jarring, but like not in a bad way. Like I used to it very quickly. Um, let me go through chat here. Let me see. Let me see what y'all are at. Um, problem with her. Oh, just the Yuki thing. Okay. Looked great. We need to get over the fact that 3D use is inevitable. Yeah, I think that also applies to like I think AI. Even Spider Verse used it for their animation, so I wouldn't A be surprised or B knock Mappa for using it either, especially because like all they're really doing with it is just duplicating frames to save time, which should theoretically mean that the animation is enhanced for us. Are you excited for Gear 5? Sure. I was really excited during the manga, but I'll be honest with you guys. Gear 5 is really cool, but I am nowhere near as excited for Gear 5 as I am for Wano to end. You have no idea. Like, the second Wano ended, I think I fell in love with One Piece again. Like,
Yes,
Wano
sir.
really
One
tested my
Piece
patience.
slander. Yeah, let's get Wano
Yeah.
out of here.
I asked Chad about what they thought of the CG, and this is a great time for you to babysit.
Hmm. Um, let's see. Uh, I'm not gonna lie to you. On the CG point, I didn't even notice it. I like you would have to point it out to me. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not saying it's not there. It may have been obvious to some, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like I think Tessero or Liv mentioned CG. Like being in the episode, I was like, damn, I didn't see it. I was too enthralled. Um, but yeah. Um, man, oh man. Gear 5. The most iconic transformation ever. More iconic than the Super Saiyan. Hmm. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hidden inventory was gas. Hidden inventory was fun. It was different. Um, and yes, hello. I did make an anime short that didn't involve him losing. Eh. I mean, you could say he lost like his best friend to a cursed spirit, but he didn't lose a fight for sure. So you can't really blame me in that capacity. Um, let's see. Damn, y'all really be aggressive with asking Creams how he feels about One Piece YouTubers. It's very interesting. Talk about Sakamoto Days. I mean, what you guys want me to talk about? Sakamoto Days is otherwise known as the best fighting manga out right now. All right, hold on, that's crazy, but not necessarily untrue. I will say, to get on my soapbox real quick, Sakamoto Days is in a very, very, very fun place right now, like plot wise and character wise too. So like, not only can I expect just like crazy hands, which you've been able to expect since chapter one, but I'm also really ready for whatever is about to go on. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't have I don't know what's going on any more than you do, but I can say I'm locked in for it. I can say I'm locked in for it 100%. Um, do I think Curse Energy could be used like a Final Fight Gone situation? Probably. I mean, instead of just making an end contract, you just call it a binding vow. Um, you know, I mean, if you think about it, right, Kashimo's kind of done the same thing. We don't know what the repercussions after using the technique is, but I will, I have my technique, but I can only use it once against this very specific person. Gives very much like outside of the rage context, right? Just like supreme binding vow to like really amp up your abilities, you know. So I I mean I definitely think that you can get something very close to that, and with how much Gege likes to, I'll say, take inspiration from Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Kubo and Togashi alike. I could see him doing something very, very similar to that, or maybe very blatantly like similar to that later in the manga. Willie, not 100% sure, but I definitely think from a like a power system, potential standpoint, 100% for sure. Yeah, bet. Bet.
All right, chat. I leave BR alone with you guys, and he's already talking about manga stuff, Sakamoto Days, and I just want to say I am proud of you, BR, for the Nanami short. I saw it. I was holding my breath throughout the entire thing, and I am just, your restraint is admirable.
Yeah. You know,
I know how
I've gotten
much
this rep as a Nanami hater in the community. I would just like to know,
deserved,
guys.
but yeah.
I am Nanami's biggest fan. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a person in the JJK community that likes Nanami more than me. So
We don't
you're
need
welcome.
to lie either.
Yeah, no, don't, that's why I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm just speaking from the heart here. And you guys are welcome. I know it's hard with all these Nanami haters out in the community, but not me. Not me. I'm different, guys.
All right.
But yeah, do you want to run through
Yeah.
your scenario?
All right, so chat, I got a question for BR and by extension you guys. All right, and I want you to take this very seriously. Okay. And the question is as follows: what would you be like? Would you be like Geto if given the opportunity and the same path? Like, would you go down the same path Geto did, assuming all circumstances are equal? The only difference is like you're the one that has
Where
to
do the
make the.
paths where do the paths, like, where do I become Ghetto? You know what I mean? Like, where do I start to gain my sentience and divulge?
Let's just
What's the
say
moment?
for fun, let's say the conversation with Yuki, but for a challenge, let's say in the year or whatever, between like Gojo's awakening and like
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm curious, do you have an answer already on hand? Like,
uh I'd I'd try to talk to Gojo. If we're doing the time skip thing, I'm like, hey, we gotta talk. Especially like I think I would notice it for at least 6 months, 7 months, so around that time, where I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing well. So I think that'd be an important conversation to have. I'd also try to I try to find new purpose at being a jujutsu sorcerer. I probably honestly, if we're talking about the conversation with Yuki, I'm like, wait, hold on. The second option is crazy, bonkers. Don't want to do that. But that first option, I heard that this girl from the Zenin clan also doesn't have any cursed energy. Let's hit her up. Let's see what she's cooking. Maybe
question for you.
maybe it's a Zenin thing. Analyze their blood, type of shit.
Question for you. Do we know what we know now? Like, we're aware of the story in that capacity?
I mean, Maki was like that the entire time. You know what I mean? Like she already didn't have cursed energy in Zero.
No, that's what I mean. Geto doesn't know about Maki, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, Geto's not aware of her existence.
Like
You know what I mean?
I'm assuming he's stuck around, right? Like here's the thing, right? I would sign on to the mission. The particulars can come as they come, right? Like eventually, the Zenin clan, like these are not secrets, right? Like their memberships are not they're not hidden, if you know what I
Sure.
mean. You're right. So like
Well,
the
okay.
whole point is Geto stays at Jujutsu Tech in
Hmm.
some way or another, right? Whether or not you want to be Yuki's lab assistant and travel and slack off with her,
Hmm.
or you want to hold down the
Yuki's
fort.
slick.
Yeah, whatever, just
Bro said,
like
yeah,
if
travel assistant. You're a sick individual, bro.
I
Nah.
wasn't going there, but since you brought it up, I mean, you like two uh two is not a crowd. It's nice to have company, and if you're gonna replace Gojo with anyone,
Yuki's gonna ask Kareem's what's your type, and he's gonna send him and be like, all right, what if I said it was you? He's gonna be rubbing his hands together. Ah ha ha. Nah, but
I mean, I deliver that line a little bit more.
you wouldn't.
We don't got to talk about that.
Listen, bro.
Point is
Anywho,
that's roughly what I
um,
do. I just be like that first option is kind of fire.
hmm. I think I'm asking Yuki what she would do if I said I was gonna kill every non-sorcerer.
That's insane. How
I'd
are
be,
you the
cause
one saying this, bro?
because I'm curious. Like, I'm curious what Yuki's response would be, right? Like, I wouldn't say I'm going to do it, but I would ask, like, if I told you right now that I was gonna kill every non-sorcerer, right? What would you do? Like, would you stop me? I'm curious to know what Yuki's answer would be.
You're just instigating a battle. You just want her to be like, "Nah, I'd stop you." You know what you want? You want her to be like, "Nah, bro, uh, you you're not holding that. I got you. Like you're not doing that."
I'm curious where her morals lie, right? Is she not crazy enough to kill every non-sorcerer because because killing is bad, right? Because she couldn't accomplish it. Like, those things are kind of I'm genuinely interested to know, right? Because I, to this day, as a viewer, don't know why Yuki said it's impossible. Like, I can infer, right? It's impossible because she couldn't accomplish it with Jujutsu High opposing her, right?
Hmm.
But what I'm saying is, as the character, I would genuinely be like, I would want to be like, well, why aren't you doing it? Right? Is it because you can't, right? You lack the power, or is it because like there is some intrinsic reason in which why you think it's wrong? And depending on your answer, I'm gonna just move forward. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna move depending on the answer. Oh, I can't. Okay. Interesting. So what if you could? You know what I mean?
What is
Because she clearly likes scientific conversations. Let's talk about science. Let's talk about
what is
let's just run these hypotheses.
what is the goal for you from this conversation? Like what are you trying to like? What's the decision that you're trying to arrive at?
I'm not trying to arrive at any decision, but I think her answers would probably help me come to a conclusion, right? It would basically be determining like, is what's stopping Yuki a lack of ambition or like a moral thing, right? Because if it's a moral thing, then maybe I could be convinced that, right, what I'm doing is not, it shouldn't be done, not because it's impossible, like because other people say so, right? Because it is the incorrect way to go about achieving my goals, right? Like you mentioned earlier, Yuki is a very like non-biased, like she doesn't dissuade Geto, or like she basically states that she wants to eliminate curse energy, right? And she's trying to go about it in the most practical way possible, right? And I'm wondering where that like pure practicality starts and ends for her. Um,
Like,
the end to which I would like
yeah.
ask these questions is the end to like, well, I want to know, right? If I'm Geto and I'm struggling in the midst of this extreme doubt, I'm probably not going to be easily swayed by just like, you shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I'd be probing. Like,
Hmm.
obviously this is assuming that like if I'm me and I have my emotions, not Ghetto's, then we're not even at this point, right? I'm not depressed in the first place. But
Okay.
I'm assuming that like I have Ghetto's turmoil.
Okay.
And if I
So
do, I'd continue asking questions.
so what's your answer for the year situation, like the year scenario, right? Where it's like between in the timeline between Gojo's awakening and like the chapter picking up. Because I said like that's when I talked to Gojo, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I'd be able to talk to Gojo. I don't
really
know. I don't know if I'd be able to. Um,
interesting. Why?
it would be because it's like it is an extremely embarrassing thing to, I think, come to terms with. like not just admit to yourself, but first of all vocalize,
Mm-hmm.
and then second of all admit to your friend, right? I feel inferior to you. It's first of all a hard thing to say to anybody, but saying it to a person who you never felt that way towards, and which part of your relationship is built on that equal standing, I think that'd be very hard to do. Like, I would like to think I'd be able to, I'll simply just come to terms with my emotions, right, and like
Mm-hmm.
deal with it. But I think, I think I would dive very deep into trying to rebalance the scales probably to no avail. Don't get me wrong, right? But I would want to bring back that equilibrium. Like my I
You're
mean, you know how I am when it comes to work
yeah.
and stuff like that, right? My answer would be to rebalance the scales, right? I want to be the strongest with my friend again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I,
That's
I don't I don't know if I'd look at it as like something that I have to accept. I'd look at it something as I have to fix. And whether or not to be able to do it is up in the air. But that's how I for that year or for that time skip or whatever. That's how I would view the situation.
I mean, I get what you're trying to say. Although I'd say like the healthier option is like you're trying to mend the friendship, because like Gojo's not without fault here, right? So it's not just about like your thing addresses sort of the imbalance in that direction where you have to. It feels like you're appeasing him, right? Like I'll get strong enough to be at the top with you again, kind of shit.
Hmm.
Instead of like my thing is like I'm trying to meaningfully build back my friendship, right? Like
Hmm.
that's the priority. So the strength thing almost doesn't like matter as much because like the conditions under which we were friends in the first place, like those conditions have changed, right? Like we are going to be different people, so like it's important to adapt, not so much like try to cling on to the past.
Sure. And that's like you said, the healthier option, right?
Yeah.
Is that what my reaction would be? Still no.
Y-
Like even in knowing that, like I'm trying to be as honest as possible, and the honest answer would be like not for Gojo. A lot of it would be for my pride too, right?
mm,
A lot of it would be hard to come to terms with because like you have to look at it as, I know you're not as much of a competitive person in this aspect, right?
mm-hmm.
So it may not. But like when adding my own personality there, like I'm a
Yeah.
very competitive
I mean,
person.
but that's my personality. Like that is me adding my personality, right?
Yeah.
In my situation, and
Hmm.
you know that, right? Like
For
'cause
sure.
those are like my priorities there. But like
Hmm.
I can see like your thing is not incongruent with your own personality based on what I know about you, right? It's more
Hmm.
so a surprise almost that that's the route you would take. Like don't get me wrong, it would objectively give you purpose, right? If you're Ghetto, like
Hmm.
it would almost preemptively solve your problem to the point where like that conversation with Yuki would be purely hypothetical. Like it wouldn't even be like
It
a
would it would
yeah,
actually be a like, oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Like you already
You
have
could
the
kill every
thing. Yeah.
non-student. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So like that's what I mean. It's still very
Hmm.
I guess
Because I do
yeah.
think it would. I do think it would be like now I'm just dedicating my life to getting stronger,
Mhm.
and maybe that would still lead to problems. Like in fact, I think it would, but the problems would be much less genocidal
Eh,
and much more like feelings of
yeah.
like inadequacy. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Which are much more copable, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and they're all
Right?
targeted at one guy, right? Instead of like
Yeah,
humanity. So I
and a
think yeah.
guy who can handle it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, like
Like Gojo's not gonna fold.
yeah. I mean like don't get me wrong, your pride will be ruined, right?
Hundred
Like
percent.
you might be a villain in like a more vengeful kind of way, right? But you're not gonna like be sanitizing yourself with spray and calling people monkeys, right? Like
Yeah,
you're
100%.
yeah, it'll be a different kind of like antagonism.
Yeah.
Um,
I would. I mean, yeah, yeah.
mm, but yeah. Okay. I guess we both got our respective answers. Last thing. You with Yuki, right? Assuming she was like, nah, I'm just like I don't have the people would oppose me type of thing. Are
Hmm.
you like, oh shit, let's join forces?
Um, no, I'd probably stay in contact with her though. I'd be interested. Like, I don't think I'd be a very active participant, but I would be someone that'd be willing to, assist if not like
So
incongruent with what I'm doing at the time.
literally yours is also I would be Yuki's lab assistant, but for the second option.
Huh?
Yeah, because like I
Um,
was like for me it's like I'd be Yuki's lab assistant for the first one, which is getting rid of cursed energy. For you, it's like yeah, let's kill these apes together, like type shit. Like what the fuck, dude?
what? Nobody said. See, we're talking about eight. Like, I didn't say any of this.
Hey,
Where are you?
no, because like assuming you'd be aligned in that mission, right? Like if Yuki was like, hey
Mhm.
man, it really is just about like the people opposing me,
In
but
the
if
first. In the first scenario, like
Yeah,
you're talking about, like, in we're having the conversation.
yeah, like
Well,
you,
yeah. Listen, if she egged, like, once again, me being ghetto, right?
yeah,
Me being me, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
right,
Like,
yeah,
you're insane, right?
but
But
you
me
are
being
ghetto,
ghetto,
right?
I'm like,
Here's the
lock in. Like, let's cook. You know what I mean?
really
That's exactly how I'm reacting. Like,
interesting.
if I am ghetto, right, and I've gotten to the point, I'm not with Gojo, like, I
Mm,
haven't found that resolve, and Yuki is like, literally, that's crazy. I couldn't accomplish it on my own or some shit like that. And then she starts egging me on, and she's like, yeah, I'll join you. Like, it'll be our purpose to kill all these non-sorcerers. There's no way I'm not folding. There's absolutely no way I'm not folding.
would
You mean
wait, hold
I
on.
get to walk down a purposeful path, not alone? Cook. Let's do it. We're killing all these non-sorcerers for real.
Interesting. Okay, so
But in the year, right, where I have a little bit more of a stopgap between me and going crazy.
yeah, okay,
I just become obsessed with becoming the strongest, and like
right, okay.
that's my
So with the
my
Yuki
problem,
thing,
Dipper.
everything Ghetto eventually did would still be on the table for you, like because
It would be on the table. It depends. So it's like like I'll give you like a choose your own adventure type answer, right?
okay,
If Yuki like encourages me and she's like, yeah, the only reason I'm not doing it is because alone I would not be able to accomplish it, right?
right,
And then we continue the conversation in a very much way where like it's implied that like if you do what I'll do it type thing, I'm doing it, right? However, if she's like, no,
it's
right?
wrong, right,
It's wrong, and I think appealing to the part of like, you want to create a world where sorcerers can be happy, right? Specifically your friends, but they can't be happy in the world you're trying to create. Oh, fuck. That would mess me up. That would throw me
mm,
off, and I'd have to reconsider. Like,
right,
that type of dialogue would make me take a step back and be like, I have to reevaluate. Sure, I can hate non-sorcerers. They're annoying. They're blah, blah, blah. But I have to reevaluate what my priorities are. And that would probably send me down a different path. So that's like the true. I could make it Yuki's fault that I turn evil, right? Or Yuki could save me from becoming a mass murderer. Like, you know what I mean? Those are her options there. It
interesting.
depends on how you read Yuki. I don't know why I combined last name and first name.
Mm,
It depends on how you look at like Yuki's morality in that capacity.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's funny because like for me, I'm just like yeah, I'm kind of taking the wheel at that moment in like Ghetto's brain or whatever, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming all the emotional damage, right? It's sort of like getting
Yeah.
hit with an emotional infinity of sorts, right? But I'm still
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally making the decisions as myself, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it just seems like you don't even need to put aside you could just be like, oh yeah, we'll put option 2 to the side for now. Let's try to
Mm-hmm.
pursue option 1. Really give it a
Yeah.
shot, like a real fair shot, and then we'll
And you
talk
could probably
about
get lost in it. You
yeah,
could probably
right,
get lost in that pursuit, to be honest.
yeah, and you can get lost with. There's a lot of things you could get lost with Yuki, right? But like the main thing is, you have kind of a new purpose, and it's one that'll keep you engaged for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Um. Okay.
Has chat been has chat been chiming in? I'm
Uh,
very curious on what their
yeah,
thoughts are.
I
If
got
they,
so wrapped up in trying to like listen and like think of my rebuttal. Let's see.
hmm.
You made a big mention talking the manga. Never stated her. Yeah, it was two type creams. Alive, optional. Woof.
Hold on. Let me see. Refresh. Okay, I can see it now.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is crazy under
Live
heaven.
optional
Yep.
is nuts.
Insane.
That's nuts. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Reminds me of that old Drake and Josh bit. It's like, what do you look for in a woman? A pulse.
Yeah. Ooh, hello. That's a great question. What if you were Gojo? Would you do it then?
Uh.
Yeah. That would be a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Out of a very like, just for fun, this one is probably gonna be shorter, right? What if you were Gojo, like facing down Geto in front of the KFC?
Like, would I kill him or not? Is that like flip
Yeah.
the switch or don't flip the switch?
Yeah. I mean, I just do it.
Um.
And I'll tell you why. Right? It wouldn't even be like a question for me. Um,
hmm.
he had already killed a triple-digit number of people.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a guy who's about to do something, and this is a guy who's already done it, right? The second I found out about that, fuck, dude, no. The second I found out about his parents, I'm like, nah, bro. I didn't even, like, it's not about your parents. It's the fact that, like, you're that dead set on it, I'm not unleashing you upon the world if I can stop it.
Okay, sure, right. I will just say, in a vague sense for everybody in chat, right? Mental exercise. Pick whatever person that you think is closest to you, right?
Oh, I already
They have
did
now
that.
done what
Yeah,
they've now done, and you're just flipping the switch, no
yeah,
problem, no
yeah.
hesitation.
No hesitation, because like then
That's
they
nuts.
cease to be the person that I knew, right? And at that point, it's like, well, it's a wrap. You know, the person that I knew died, so
Very interesting.
might as well make the body follow suit.
Huh. Very interesting. Um.
I mean, you'd hesitate? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm hesitating on if I would even kill them right there. Like, not even, not just I
That's
hesitate.
so
Period. I
weird.
mean, I don't know, man. I
A
love the
hundred,
people I love.
a
Sorry,
hundred
my
and
fault.
twenty-seven people.
Hey, bro. Sometimes you get cranky. Like, are people just not allowed to make mistakes anymore, bro? Come on now. Um,
So let me run the same thing through you, right? Let's say it's somebody that you love like that, right? To
yeah.
scale, like, and it's the
Like, I'm
same
assuming
number.
this is Gojo's closest person, right? Is that
Yeah,
fair to
yeah,
assume?
yeah. We're still
I
like,
no.
so okay, like closest person in your life, 127 people. You're just like, let me rock with you.
I'm not saying that, but Gojo didn't say let me rock with you either. It's can I kill you right now? Right? This is basically like this is still new, right? I'm still in disbelief that you even fucking did this.
Okay,
I'm
so
just saying I'm not flicking hollow purple. Boom. All right, cool. We're done now. Like I don't like I'm just saying I'm a human being and I wouldn't be able to pull the trigger so easily. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like
I
this is my closest person. This is the person I love more than anybody else in the world. Let me just it almost doesn't matter what you've done. Like I could condemn you, know in my heart and soul you need to be stopped, but still not be able to actually just do anything about it. You know what I mean?
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'd have the dialogue with them, right? Like obviously, you gotta say your goodbyes.
I mean, why, bro? They're not the person you knew. Just kill them.
No,
You know what I mean? That's how it sounds. Like if they're not the person you knew anymore, that is a stranger who killed people. Kill them. Kill
no.
them without talking.
I obviously like need to have the full dialogue, right? You gotta mourn them, duh, and then you
They
know.
already. Uh, that seems a little bit of wonky logic. I can't
Let
lie.
me rephrase, right? Gojo didn't have an explanation. He just had the receipts, right? I want to hear the explanation. If it's the same explanation as Ghetto's, then I'd be like, all right, we're good. Like it's it's Gojo over, right? But if it's like, I don't know, man, I found a cult where 127 people ritualistically like eat travelers or whatever. I'm like, all right, yeah, like let's see if there are any survivors and take care of that. See, that's what the
Yeah,
conversation's
but
for.
he killed his parents though. Like you already know that going in.
It's
That's
like,
information you
hold on,
have.
were the
You
parent?
can't. You.
Hold on, were his parents part of it? You know what I mean? Like I
Come on now, bro.
the explanation is very important.
You're telling me like because you're making them. You're saying that once they've done this, they're a stranger, right? You're telling me a stranger
No,
that you have the capacity
no,
to take out has killed 123
no,
people. You're giving
no,
them time to talk.
no.
That's
The
crazy.
stranger comments as if their explanation is just like what Ghetto's was. Like that,
Mm,
it comes after I hear the justification.
yeah. I mean, he's not leaving. Like I don't. There's none of
Yeah.
that shit, right?
Okay,
But I
so
don't.
that's the
I'm not.
line you
I'm
draw.
not like killing the person. Like I just. It's not like a matter of yes, is what they did wrong. Yes, should they be stopped immediately? Yes. Could I do it? I don't know. And so don't get me wrong. Listen, I will remove your limbs from the conversation,
Oh, you
right?
gotta hit him
And
with
then
that
we
blue.
will go somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? I don't know
Um.
what to do with you right now, but a decision as final as death is just too much for me to stomach at that moment.
I mean, okay. Here's a good compromise, right? I'd hit him with the blue that he gave Korak guy. You know, no arms, no legs type shit.
Hmm.
Warp over to Jujutsu Tech. Be like, all right, seal him, and then you know somebody else execute him because I can't do it. You know, have him go on trial.
At the same time, I don't know if I could let somebody else kill him though.
You'd so
Like,
you'd okay, like okay, so like
if they die, they're I'm if they die, I'm doing it, right?
I see.
I will like you try to do that like for me, I will be the one on trial because I will obliterate you. I will turn you into ash. Like wait until I'm ready. All right, give me a month. Hold them somewhere. Give me a month. All right. I need to think.
Gotta
I
psych
need to
yourself up.
process.
I like that.
Yeah, and you literally do because it's like I don't know, man. Death is real final. It's real end of story. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I'm like, listen, give me some time. Let me think. Let me take a walk. Let me talk to some friends. Phone a family member. Something. But like, it's not a decision that can be made in front of a KFC on the spot, bro. I'm just telling you that for real. I just can't do it.
It's so weird that the number doesn't even move you a little bit.
I don't care.
That's so weird.
Give me a million people, and the decision would not get any easier.
Hey, man.
If you gave me time to deal with it, yeah, could I come to terms with the fact that, like, yes, this person isn't the person I knew anymore, right? Or at least, like, that love for them does not trump, like, the love for everybody else in my life and what danger they could possess, right? But, like, that is still, no matter what, the person that I spent however many years with, right? Or known or whatever. And that does not just immediately disappear because they did a bad thing. A very bad thing, an evil thing, a downright dastardly thing.
Dastardly.
Um,
Okay.
Dastardly, bro. But like I am acknowledging the objectiveness of it and just being like, yeah, that's cool. Objectively, should they be taken out? Probably. Could I make that decision in the moment and actually follow through? Probably not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Probably not. No.
I mean, look, my Jesus live. No, I'm not on my Batman energy. You guys, are you? Okay, let me explain this like very clearly, right? The friendship, like for me, it's like all preventative, right? It's like I try like damn near pathologically to mend fences, try to restore like any kind of love and affection or blah blah blah, right? However, and I didn't think I need to say this, 127 people is not a casual number.
And
That
you won't
was
find anybody in chat like disagreeing with that
I
statement,
better
right?
not, bro. Like
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this. Let me add this caveat, right? Let's say it is made known that you were a very large contributor into them breaking this way. Does that at least give you pause?
oh, yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah, sure.
Like you are the reason they're like this.
Okay.
Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
like, do you not you or are you just like, you should have done better and then just fucking kill them? I
I
don't
mean,
know, man.
oh yeah, if I'm like partially to blame, and they let me know by the way, because if I'm Gojo, I'm like, it wouldn't occur to me the same way it wouldn't occur to him, right? Like until after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, if they tell me in the moment, I'm like, oh fuck, you're right, my bad. Let me just arrest you, and I'll like think about it.
My bad. See, you're an unserious person, bro.
No,
My bad is crazy.
my bad
My,
is
my, my fault. My fault, bro.
yeah.
That's my fault. My fault. My fault.
I mean, I didn't
That
kill.
sucks. That's tough.
I didn't kill him. Like
Um,
like it's.
Hey, listen, man.
I
You
mean,
heartless. You heartless.
I mean,
That's all.
the apology, like, or I guess the what do you want to call it? The amends is not killing them, right? It's like okay, I see I was partially at fault. This gives you a reprieve. Come with me.
Listen.
Yeah, we'll talk about it like before you get executed. You can choose if it's by me or somebody else.
Hey, man. Fair enough. Chat. Maybe I come off as like the heartless, stoic, standoffish person, but just know I have a bigger heart than Creams. Like confirmed. You know what I mean? Like I just have more
bro,
empathy and sympathy for people.
bro, you know how fucking like obsessive I am with like I even
Yeah,
I even told you like
all up front, bro.
hold on. I even told you like and you've been on the receiving end of like the whole like friendship priority thing. I even mentioned it in earlier in this episode, right? Like I am pathologically like I need to make amends, right? Like I need to talk to this person and like we need to be okay, right? Like that's my friend right there. Like that means everything to me. That being said, like come on, bro. Like if they're not your friends, if they're not your loved ones, you got to treat them with like a
But they
fine,
are.
healthy hostility. Like,
But they are your friends. They are your loved ones. They are your most loved one.
yeah,
I don't know, man. There are very like if my life was in danger, maybe I had to make that split-second decision, right? Out of like a biological instinct, right?
mm,
Like me or you, not even a conscious decision, just like I'm just reacting to shit because I don't want to die myself,
Right.
right? But if we're talking about, okay, I know you did something bad.
Okay, let me just clarify something. Like at the very least, right?
Hmm.
Neither of
Sure.
us is letting him walk away, right? Like that's
I'm
not,
not letting
yeah.
him walk away. No,
Like
right?
that's crazy. Like that was an actually crazy thing to do, right?
It is kind of crazy. But like I'm also not faulting Go like it's tough because like is that crazy? Yeah, bro, grab him by his fucking collar.
Yeah,
But I don't know. So
like we're
here's the thing.
like, bro, we can talk about this while you're in handcuffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I know you'll disagree, right? And that's fair. But maybe at this point, right? Gojo is not strong enough to beat someone like Geto without killing him, right? Now I know you feel about Gojo and like how much stronger he is than everyone, right? But I could
Objectively is insane.
maybe see that, right? So I don't know. I guess throw
Okay.
shoot him some bail there.
Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like okay. Assuming all things being equal, like let's assume I even let him walk away, right? Like really committing to the Gojo like role play, right?
Uh huh.
The second he steps up 10 years later to declare a war, you're just letting him rock again? Like you've
He
had,
said that, bro. But like his students were in danger. What you want him to do? Let him die?
you know what I meant. You knew what I meant.
All I'm saying is go. He put Gojo in a hard position.
Damn.
That's all I'm saying.
It's crazy that like Gojo doesn't have any method of like containing Geto in some sort of like confined space where he won't be able to harm anybody. Ah, if only he had
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
It'd be crazy if this confined space also like doubled up on having some kind of mechanism in it to you know stop him.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, if he did, he probably would have used it.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise that's just like crazy writing on Gege's part.
Unfortunately, Gojo just wasn't built like that. You know what I mean? He
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Gojo, he'd never. Yeah, they call him never get sealed Gojo or never seal Gojo. They alternate
Hmm.
depending on like who's on the receiving end.
100%, 100%.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean it's on
yeah.
T-shirts, right?
Uh-huh.
T-shirt wouldn't lie.
Yeah. But yeah. What is chat? Chat is having a fucking debate. What's going on? I don't know. I've seen them arguing about Yuki and Shoko. Very weird comparison without context. Um, yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
Uh, if this was like a consideration, hello, then like I don't know if Gojo was that would reframe Gojo's hesitation a little bit. It's just like, oh shit, there's people here, not oh I can't do it.
It could be like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a mix. Could be a mix. Like I can't do it. And then like using people as a reason to not do it, to not even try, you know what I mean? Cuz like you're telling me he can't spawn a blue up in the air and make Ghetto just just zoom. I don't know, man. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah.
I think they're talking about like strength differences in like the role they play in disagreements between sorcerers.
Oh, I wouldn't let someone weaker than me talk shit to me though. Like don't give your input on my life. I'm not going to lie to you unless I asked.
Hmm.
Like I couldn't be a special grade and have Nanami comment on some shit that I'm thinking, bro. Like who do you think I will I'll just blow you up just cuz.
Yeah,
Like I don't know who you think you are.
I mean,
These are special
yeah.
problems for a special sorcerer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stick to your pay grade.
I will just be totally for real though. Like if I'm Gojo, like the higher ups, they're in the rear view mirror like 2 days after my awakening.
Hey, listen, bro. And this is why once again I'm glad you're not Gojo for real.
You're telling me you're just letting the higher ups rock?
I mean, Gojo didn't really have a problem with the
Oh
higher ups
yeah,
until
right. 0, 0, 0. Let's even say Yuji, just for kicks, just so we can give him like something to kind of compound his like annoyed his
I mean,
irritation.
yeah, I'm still not killing the higher ups. Do you not, bro? Let me direct you to a chapter. Chapter 11. Gojo actually talks about why he doesn't do this. I don't know if you'd like to give it a quick reread,
Hmm.
just a quick browse. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um,
So,
maybe it wouldn't have
so
any
you're telling me
impact for the future generations.
so you're telling me after the Yuji thing, you're letting them get away with it like 100%?
Gojo's not letting anybody get away with anything, man. Like you can't sacrifice his entire purpose for living because of one kid, right? It sucks. It angers him, sure, right? But he has an entire generation of very promising sorcerers that are following him, right? Like, okay, put it like this: you're giving up Yuta, Hikari, and Megumi,
Oh wait,
right,
actually, sorry.
for Yuji at
Chap
this point.
Chap brings up a good point. It's very interesting that like when you mentioned a lesser sorcerer talking back to you, you automatically went with Nanami. Hmm. Very
I
interesting.
mean, yeah, he's the pinnacle average sorcerer.
What did he do to you, bro? Like what
I mean, no, that's just like kind of how he's framed in the story. I'm sorry I'm sorry to tell you that.
mm,
Like, bro,
nah, I don't know.
listen, and no spoilers, right? But if you are a manga reader and you have seen chapter 231, it's not like I'm the only one doing this. Okay? I'll just put it like that. I'll just put it like that. I put my hands up, and if you've read it, you've read it. If you haven't, you haven't. That's cool, right? I'll just say for the people that know, no, I'm not the person who puts this character in this scenario.
oh my
Okay?
god.
I'm not the only one framing him like this. The story is too.
You're a menace to society, bro.
If I am, so is Gege, and I'm cool with that. Like, you know what I mean? Just acknowledge
Bro,
that, like, it's
we
not
know
just
he
me.
is. We know he.
Okay,
Wait, we
bro.
think Gege
Cool.
Akutami? Huh?
Cool
Everybody
then.
knows that.
Cool then. That's all I'm saying, bro. Just all I'm saying is like, if Gege can say Nanami's his favorite character, I can say Nanami's my favorite character too. You know what I mean?
I mean, he hates Gojo for whatever that's worth.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm saying my personal feelings for the character, right? Obviously, Nanami is one of my favorite characters in fiction, period.
Oh
But
my
that
god.
doesn't mean I have to look away from the facts.
Okay.
I don't have to look away from the facts now. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. So what you're telling me, right, is after Yuji dies, right?
Okay.
You're killing the higher ups. You're nuts.
Uh, I don't know. What juncture would you do it? Because for me, it's
There's
like,
no
no,
point
wait.
in which I need to kill them.
After you get unsealed, or whenever, whatever that
They're
is.
already dead. What do I need to do that for?
Interesting. All right. Okay. Hmm. All right.
And I mean, listen, this is the guy. Listen, he could forgive the old fart, right? Without problem, without issue. Critter doesn't really care.
Yeah. I mean, where's all that unsealed rage? Saw it in a video once.
Hey, listen, bro.
I mean, you think that guy would like make a claim like that on the internet and just like never answer for it not happening?
Nah, that would be kind of crazy to do
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, we'd literally have to like teach him a lesson, you and me, right?
Mhm.
Teach him what it means to lie on the internet.
Yeah. And for all the people being like, Nanami is a grade 1, that is an average, right? I'll just ask you to name me, right? How many like grade 2 and 3 sorcerers we see? When I'm talking about average, please apply. It's just some common sense. I'm talking about characters we see in the verse, right? Yeah, you could. There's a bunch of peons, right? But like, why does that matter when we never see them?
True.
Nanami is very average amongst characters we see.
Hmm.
He's not weak, right? He stands in a very middling level. He
You know,
can body some characters and get bodied by some others.
actually, you know what's crazy? We see less sub grade 2 sorcerers than we see like any other grade. Like there
And
are
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, we see more grade
Gege,
1s and special
Gege in
grades, yeah.
fact, comments on it, right? Gege says that most sorcerers are not like grade 1s, right? Or like most of them are not like Gojo.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, right? But it's the fact that he has to make that caveat lets you know that like the way the story is framed because we're interested in the interesting people. Nobody's like, dude, we're looking at like semi grade 1s, right? As super weak people.
Yeah.
And
Like
also, I mean, like,
Nabito
what are we
hard carried their presentation. Let's be real.
what are we doing, man?
Yeah. Anyway, this was a great episode. I think this is our also longest episode of this anime podcast sub series thing. So appreciate you guys for rocking with us throughout this entire thing.
Mm.
Appreciate you guys being members. Trying to think of like anything else that I might be missing. Like I know the second we hit end stream, like it happens like almost every single time. I'm like, oh fuck, I should have said that. So, kind of
I
vamping.
mean, we will see you guys Sunday
Yeah.
for a very fun chapter stream.
You know
The
what?
chapter is very interesting.
You know what,
very
chat?
engaging.
You're right. If something ever does come up, if I remember it after the fact, I'll write it down and bring it up on Sunday. That's a great idea.
Huh. Yeah, you're welcome.
I don't know why you
but
took
yeah,
credit for chat's idea, but sure, it's in character for you.
I mean, well, it was just mine, so it's all good.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys are going to be able to stay strong over this 3-week break. All right, it's gonna be a little rough, but
Yes,
we'll make
sir.
it through.
Yeah, I believe in all of us. Shout out all you guys for being here when we stream this. Appreciate everybody watching the VOD and the liking, the subscribing, and the commenting. All of that great, wonderful, neat stuff.